Hi, my name is Liam, and I'm making a game called Magelight. Magelight is a pixel art adventure game where you borrow magic from a demon. This devlog, I've been focusing a lot on the player animations. Now, if I keep on remaking things, I'm never going to get this freaking game done. But the art for the main character is pretty important, and there were a couple of really important things that I needed to address about it. So number one, the player art was 8-directional. So that means I have the top, down, left and right, as well as all of the diagonals, which means I needed to, for every action or spell or anything in the game, I would need to create 8 different versions of it from 8 different angles. And it was just going to be way too much work. So I decided to cut it down to 4 animations. Second thing that needed to change about the character art was the color palette. I think the colors looked good just on the player, but I was having trouble matching with the environment. And so I went through and I chose the colors that I liked from the player, and I used it to build out a color palette. The third thing that needed to change was the design for the player. Just a small change. And it's actually going back to what my original plan for the character was, which was that he would have a lantern in his hand. What you guys have seen recently, at least, light is just kind of like glowing off of the player character, and I just think it looks a little weird. I think he should have a lantern. It just makes more sense for the world. So, in the comment section of my previous devlog, I had a comment from this wonderful person who suggested that I stream the game development process. And I thought that making the player art would be a perfect time to try that out. So even though basically nobody watched my stream, I did get one viewer who was a pixel artist who was very helpful in helping me choose some colors and build a color palette. So thank you. And if you want to watch me stream, let me know if you're interested in the comments. If nobody cares, then I probably won't bother. But if you want to watch, I will just do my thing, but on stream. All right, so this devlog, character animations. All right, so like I said earlier, I am just building out a color palette here. So I started with the colors that I liked on the character, specifically the scarf, and I started building up color ramps and transitions between different colors. I tried to add as many useful colors as I wanted, so some blues, some yellows, some greens, but I'm expecting to have to change some of those shades. But the number of shades should stay the same. So here I start the animation process for the running right animation. I also took a second to just on a single layer block out the movement of the animation by outlining the player. That gives a decent feel for how much I want the character to move. Okay, so we have the idols, and then we have the running left and right. And it is far from perfect, but it's gonna have to be good enough. So this is just about the best as I can do. All right. I'm just going to be working on the player animations again today. It is winter time, and so my wife has crocheted a little scarf for my Bulbasaur. So I'm going to set him on my desk next to the yet unnamed plant. Somebody recommended that I name it Eyebrows, which I'm not going to do. But thanks for your participation. All right, let's do some pixel art. Here I'm working on the running down animation, which is one of the most important ones. It's where the player is most visible, and it can give a really good sense of what the movement feels like. So I spent a fair amount of time tweaking this to get it looking the way I wanted. Not terrible, but I think his hand is a little too close to his body, and I want it to curve up a little bit more. Ugh, I got the hiccups. Okay, so let me just show you in game what we have. So we've got the idle. You can run left and skid to a stop. Run right, skid to a stop, and then also run down and then skid to a stop. The up animation still doesn't exist, but we have left, right, down. And I think that looks pretty darn good. I'm gonna do the up animation in a bit, but actually I have to go clean my fish tank. But at some point, I will be doing the up animation, and then we can move on to spell casting animations, which is gonna be super fun. Okay, so that is all the footage I have. It is the 1st now of December. I spent a ton of time streaming, making the character animations, but apparently Twitch only keeps your VODs, I think is what they're called. The recordings of your streams, it only keeps them for like a certain amount of time. And by the time I'm editing this after Thanksgiving, they're gone. Okay, so I'm just going to go through and show you what I've got right now. We have the left, right, down, up, skidding in all 4 directions. And then we also have a dash. I'm going to turn off the light in this room because I don't know if you can see what is going on. But when you dash, it makes a trail behind the player. And then also when you flash the screen, he faces the camera and holds the lantern up. When you cast a spark, I don't know if you can see, but he throws his hand out a little bit. Which I think is pretty cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are the updates for the player. So the next thing that I worked on was the area management system. So this is a map that I've been working on. So basically each area is defined as this, as a square right here, something like this. And then I have these little connection points. These are where you transition between areas. And each of these colors is a region. So this gray is the town, which I'm going to be calling Port Kassan. And then right outside of the town is this green region, which is the Western Forest. If you open this up, we've got basically just a color rect that acts as the background, and then at runtime, the game will draw collision shapes around the borders, so that way the player cannot walk off of this green shape. And then there are doors which move to an area based on its name, and then I also have a link key which will link specific doors together. All of that to say there are places now and you can walk between the rooms. So in game what that looks like is something like this. We can come up here and it'll transition into the next room, and then there's another room on the other side here. And then we can come in here, and now we're in the forest, and we can, oops, forgot how to do everything. Okay, and you can fight some enemies, gather the light. So basically, I have a system for creating areas for the player to inhabit, and then connecting those areas with doors. And I've also started designing what the world is going to look like and deciding how many rooms, how many regions, which region is the player going to go into first and stuff like that. That pretty much catches us up to today. Like and subscribe onto the video and the channel. If you guys want to watch me stream, let me know. And yeah, that's it. Goodbye.